Yes.
Called Destiny.
Destiny.
And I want to dedicate this sermon to the young lady. What's her name? Spring?
Yes.
I want to dedicate it to her.
Amen.
Because I want her to understand that it's not over.
Amen.
And God is not done doing what he's doing, and you will see your child again.
Yes.
She's the grandmother.
Oh, amen. You'll
Amen.
see your grandbabies again.
Yes.
And you'll understand that by the end of this sermon.
Yes.
So many people waiting just to find their peace.
Come on, Randy.
Come on.
But I don't
Pastor
want
Randy.
a piece. I want my whole destiny.
Yes.
I'm running.
Come on.
All right. Good
Come
morning,
on,
y'all.
Pastor.
Good
Come on.
morning.
Come on. Sing on.
I promised
Sing on.
Kathy I was gonna sing with her, so I keep my word.
That was great.
That song, see this sermon, I've done this sermon before, but that song just kind of sticks with it because of destiny.
Yes.
And I love it. It stays stuck in my head because I don't want a piece. I want my whole
Come on.
destiny.
Amen.
That's it.
My whole destiny.
Not just a piece of it.
Thank you so much, Pastor Zach, Pastor Kim, giving me this opportunity. As always, it's always good to be home. Let's get right into it. There's a man, a French tightrope walker named Charles Blondin. Back in the 1800s, he was very famous. When I say famous, I mean Abraham Lincoln would compare himself in politics to Blondin. He made a statement saying that in politics, I have to walk this tightrope like Charles Blondin. Now that's pretty amazing when the very first president of the United States is using your name in comparison. So that's a very famous man right there, Charles Blondin. 1800s, since the man was 6 years old, he was trying to do something great. He always wanted to do something great. He always had a destiny, but he didn't quite know how to get there. He realized real quickly that, I have this great balance. I'm going to use it, to walk these tightropes because nobody's going to be able to do it as good as I can do it. From 6 years old all the way to his 50s, and beyond that, that's all he did. When I say great, I mean that this man would take a tightrope and he would, at one point, put a stove on his back, like a little kettle stove, black kettle stove, and he'd walk across the tightrope and get halfway there, sit down, put the stove on the tightrope, and cook an omelet. Like this, he really did. This is real. He cooked an omelet, and then he lowered it down on a rope to the people below so they could eat it and see, that's a real omelet.
Wow.
Now, it probably didn't taste that good because it didn't have, salt and pepper or nothing, but an omelet cooked on a tightrope is still a tightrope omelet. That's awesome. Right? I don't care how you cut it, that's a pretty awesome omelet. So he did all this stuff. He did all this tightrope and he cooked the omelets and stuff. And people were still like, yeah, Blondin is awesome. But it wasn't his destiny. He's like, this is all great, but it's not my destiny. What can I do? His manager goes, you know what, how about this? Niagara Falls. He goes, what if we take a rope and we tie one end on the United States side and tie the other end on the Canada side, and you cross Niagara Falls. You're right, 1,100 feet up with the rushing water going underneath the rope and the wind and the birds. If you did that, you'd be great. That's your destiny. Blondin's like, let's go. Let's do this. They tie the rope, lets people know, 2,500 people show up. Now this is in the 1800s, no Facebook, no Twitter, no Snapchat, no text. So for them, that many people to come, exactly, the word of mouth had to be out of control because there was no way to know unless somebody told you, hey, Blondin's about to walk across Niagara Falls. 2,500, the largest crowd he's ever had. He's ready to do it, man. He gets on that rope and he's feeling good because this is what he does, right? He walks across and he comes back and everybody's cheering. And he's like, yeah, you guys believe I can get all the way across and back? We believe, we believe. They were all chanting, we believe. And he did, and he came back and they were screaming, he did it. He got all the way across Niagara Falls, 1,100 feet up, rushing water. He goes, how many people believe that since I did it, I can do it again, but with a wheelbarrow? And they were like, yeah, we believe. Everybody, we believe, we believe. He goes, all right, let's go. Now he gets the wheelbarrow and he's walking across the tightrope with the wheelbarrow. And he gets to the end. Now this is what's cool. You got to really look into the autobiography to find this because you're not going to find it on Wikipedia. He gets to the end of the rope and the wheelbarrow has some weight to it. Now he couldn't get the wheel of the wheelbarrow over the rock. He couldn't get it over the rock. And so he's kind of stuck. And he can't lift it up because there's no leverage. You're on a tightrope. He can't turn it around. He's kind of he kind of walks into this wall. And he's like, uh-oh, I can't get the wheelbarrow up. So Charles Blondin starts walking backwards. And he's got this wheelbarrow, he's walking the tightrope backwards with the wheelbarrow, and he comes all the way back across with this wheelbarrow. And everybody's going bananas. I mean, can you imagine? The man made it backwards 1,100 feet, rushing water with a wheelbarrow. He walked that tightrope from United States to Canada, or Canada back to the United States, and they went bananas. We believe that is amazing. Now that should have been enough. I would think. That sounds pretty great to me.
Yeah.
He gets off, he gets back onto the dirt. He's like, all right, y'all. You guys believe I can do anything, right? With this tightrope, I proved myself. They're like, we believe. He goes, do you believe I can walk a person across this tightrope? And they were all screaming, yes, absolutely. Come on, do it, Charles Plumpton. And he goes, okay. Then I got this wheelbarrow. Who's going to hop in the wheelbarrow? Come on, I need a person to come in.
Oh, wow. Not me.
Silence. I'm sure you can hear crickets, probably birds chirping. Probably heard somebody coughing. The crowd started dissipating. Slowly but surely, 2,500 started dropping. People started disappearing. Hey, I gotta go. I left something in my car. I'll be right back. And Blondin's probably thinking, wait a minute, it's 1859. You don't have a car. There's no cars. Come back here. You know? That's what I would think. But after a while, everybody left. Right? Everybody left. And he's like, I don't get it. What is this all about? I just showed you what I could do. I walked backwards. And you still don't trust me or believe in me enough after you chanted, we believe, to get in the wheelbarrow? So his manager, the guy in the picture on his back, of course, the only person who left who believed in him said, I'll go across with you, but I'm not doing it in that wheelbarrow. He goes, if you pick your balance beam back up, he goes, I will get on your back and you can do it with me. And so that picture is Blondin and his manager walking across Niagara Falls. And that picture is famous. The reason we talk about him, that was 1859, it's 2017, it's because of that picture. All the stuff that man did in his life, all that great, wonderful stuff, didn't get him to his destiny. It was finally not him and the 2,500, not him and the mass, but him and the one who truly believed in him that got him to his destiny.
Yeah.
Now, what's so cool about this is the manager, it's just a manager. That's what they do. They manage. They don't walk tightropes. They don't do that kind of stuff. But because of the manager's belief, he's famous too, right? Because he's on Blondin's back, because he's with Blondin. Every time you see that picture, guess who else is in it? Guess who else is famous?
Yeah.
Right? Guess who else has a destiny that went hundreds of years beyond how long they lived? The manager.
Yes.
That belief, his belief went so far that he got on that man's back and he walked across that tightrope. I can understand completely what it's like when you know all these people believed in you, when they got you back. But when it's time for them to get some skin in the game,
Come on.
right? When it's time for them to actually put their belief into faith
Yeah.
Come on.
and get in with you, when there's some sacrifice to be made, you don't see them. Oh, I gotta go to my car real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And they
Tell
back.
the truth.
Yeah.
I can understand this. When we were, actually, I go all the way back to my mother. My mother, she's still alive, 70 years old
Praise
now.
God. Amen.
She's from the South, Bessemer, Alabama.
Oh.
My mother was beautiful. Okay, she was beautiful. And I'm not saying that because she was my mama, because y'all recording. I'm just saying she was beautiful. Out of all the sisters, she had a ton of sisters. She wasn't the firstborn. She was named after her mother, right? Because she was so pretty.
Aw.
So her mother gave her the name Allie because she was so pretty. And of course, that obviously caused some strife because you got older sisters that are like, how come you didn't name me? How come I didn't get the name? I'm the older sister. And it's always fun, like in family reunions, because then you got to be like, look, man, calm down, auntie. Just let it go. Drink your cognac. Let it go. It was a long time ago. It's out of your control. Leave it alone. But so my mother gets this name, and she's growing up pretty in the South, and this is how it works. If you're pretty in the South, you think, I don't need to do my homework. I don't need to be smart in school. I don't have to get a job. I'm going to get a good man who makes good money, and I'm going to live good because I'm pretty. And she wrote that all the way out till she was an adult. And she met a guy named Eddie Pinkney, fast-talking California guy. He came down to the South like Ike Turner looking for Tina. She met him, fell in love with him. She got pregnant with me. And she came all the way out. She was 9 months pregnant. She's like, I need to be out there with my man, my guy. And her family was like, look, we believe in your relationship. We believe in you. We're going to put this money together, get you a Greyhound ticket, get you out to California so you can be with your man and have your family. So they give her all that. To put money together for a Greyhound ticket, to me, is awesome because it's only like $40, $50. It couldn't have been that much back then, 1979.
Right.
So, but they all went in, She got out to California, gets to the door. A woman opens the door of his house.
Whoa.
And calls up to him and says, Eddie, you need to come downstairs. There's a woman here, and she's claiming that that she's got your baby, and you need to do something about this.
Wow.
And the lady leaves, and Eddie, y'all see where this is going. The lady leaves, and Eddie comes up and he tells my mom, he's like, you know what, I'm so sorry. That's my wife. We can't do this anymore. And my mom was like, wait a minute, I'm about to have this baby any day. I just left everything to come out here. Are you seriously telling me not only do you have a wife, but what am I supposed to do? He goes, I don't know, but you got to leave. Close the door. My mother's like, I don't have any money. I'm in California. I'm about to have a baby. She's literally days away from having a baby. So she just went straight to the hospital in Orange County. She went to City of Angels. Had me, I believe, a few days later. And she didn't have enough money, so she called home. She said, y'all need to help me. I just had the baby. I got to come home. Nothing worked out. I got to come home. I'm scared by myself. I'm in the hospital. They're going to kick me out here pretty soon. They said, we can't help you. They go, that's all well and good, but you made that bed. You need to lie in it. We can't get you home. This is family. Wow. This ain't friend. This is blood. We believe. Said we don't believe enough to get you back out here. You on your own. And you know what? She said, okay. So she got a little money together and she made her way to Vegas because it was close to California. We had a cousin that was out here that was like, I could put you up till you make some more money to leave. And you know how Vegas is. You don't never leave. You don't never leave. So that's why I'm from Vegas. I've been here my whole life because you don't never leave.
Right.
So it's crazy because my mother was a believer. In the South, a lot of people believe it's a Bible belt, Bessemer, Alabama. Right. She got here, and after that situation, she was done. She's like, I don't believe, because if God was real, why would he do this? How could he let this happen? Plus men, she was angry at all men at that point too, so she was just done. Me and my little sister, we got to grow up as pretty much atheists. Because, well, not pretty much, as atheists, because she didn't care, we didn't have to care, and we didn't have any churches in the area, so it was kind of like, okay, we can get away with whatever we wanted. And you can have a lot of fun when there's no God, when there's no accountability, when you're a little kid, at least you think, So we grew up that way. I'm 18 years old. I got my high school sweetheart. I marry her. We have our firstborn, which is a little boy named Isaiah, right? 18 years old, no God in my life, but we have this kid. And he dies in his crib 3 months after we have him.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Our first kid together, his name was Isaiah, but named after the basketball player, wasn't it? It's funny how full circle now, Isaiah the prophet, but then it was Isaiah Thomas. So, he's gone. And we're young, and we don't know how to deal with him. We don't have God, me and this young lady. So we're trying to fill this big hole that was left by our child being gone with something. With money, cars, alcohol, whatever we could do. Las Vegas had to offer, we was going to take it. Because we're only 18 years old.
Wow.
And we can't deal with this pain. We went to counseling, but it didn't help. It didn't help. It navigated us, but it didn't help us. After all of this, man, I'm just like, I'm done. Our relationship pretty much fell apart because that kind of a hole, man, you can't fill it with that kind of stuff. It doesn't work. We get divorced after 5 years. 2001 comes along. God sends me to a job where I meet that woman sitting over there. You guys hear that story a lot, right? God gives me the job. God gives me the woman. Then God gives me that little girl over there, right? That one right there. She's 14 now. And it's just everything. God gives it all back. Kind of like Job, right? He lost all of it. God gives it all back.
Right.
God gives it all back to me, but I'm still like, no, I'm good. I don't want to do the whole God thing. I'm not doing it. I'm angry at a God I don't believe in, if that makes any sense. And that's the problem with atheism. You can't be mad at a God if you don't believe in God. So we're doing this whole thing where, I'm still atheist, but I'm not one of those too proud atheists where I'm out there picketing. And we're living this life that is without God. Even my wife had a little bit of God, but I think we snuffed a little bit of that out right after we got together. And we're doing all this stuff, making all this money. We got great jobs. We go to California, get even better jobs, 6-figure salary. Now everything is coming. I've got the baby now. I've got my stepson because my Kel had a son when I met her, so I had 2, boy and a girl. Come on now. Right. We're in California making 6 figures. She's making great money. Everything's rolling. Still no God. We get an offer to come back here. You guys know my house hunter story, right? House hunters. They say, we're going to pick a house for you, or you guys pick a house, we'll help you find it. Find a house. We say, we're moving back. We move back. And I got all these friends and family in Las Vegas. Now, I've been gone for 6 years in California making this money. Everybody was like, come on home. We got you. Got you, man. I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. We get home. We pull up after a 10-hour drive. We pull up. No one is there. I think one person showed up, Greg. I think it was Greg. No, he didn't show up either? Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, Greg. Nobody showed up. 10-hour drive, me, my wife, my daughter, we're sitting in this U-Haul truck with a 5-bedroom house, 5 bedrooms worth of furniture in this truck. And we're like, we just drove 10 hours. We got to unload the truck ourselves. Nobody came, no family, no friends, nobody. The neighbor comes out of his house. Little guy, little white dude. Looks like Mr. Peabody off Sherman and Mr. Peabody. Well, howdy, neighbor. He's like, Mr. Rogers. Well, hello, neighbor. Howdy. You guys, did you need some help unloading your truck? And I'm like, well, yeah, man, absolutely. If you got somebody who can help us, yeah. He was okay. Runs back in his house. Come on, let's help him. 16 people come out of this house. And these are youngsters. Yeah, these are missionaries, young, college-age kids. Half of them come right to the truck and just start working. They go straight to work. The other half run into the cul-de-sac or the neighborhood. And they're knocking on all the doors in the neighborhood. Hey, there's a new guy that just moved in the neighborhood. He needs some help. You have anybody that can help us unload the truck? And they're bringing people out of these houses. And then we just look at this army, like 30 people, unloading the truck. 28 minutes later or 30 minutes later, the truck is empty. Everything's put where it's supposed to go. Me and my wife are standing there like, what is going on? Like, what is this? Who are all these people? We go to the guy who was Dave. He was just Dave then. And we go, Dave, this was awesome, man. Look, you guys showed up. I got a brand new grill out back. How can I thank you? I want to grill you something. Let me do something for you. Oh, you can come to my church. Instantly, right? Here we go with the stomach trouble. Instantly, wait, did he just say my church? I never had a chance to tell this man that we don't do church. He never told me that he did church. So we're like, oh, okay. Yeah, we'll come to your church. Where is it at? Thinking, well, you know what? We could just say, something came up, or we had some car trouble. I'm not feeling good. We can get out of going. He goes, oh, it's right next door in that house. House? You have a house church? I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, I didn't know you had a church house. So we're thinking, okay, we gotta go now because he's next door to us. If we call in sick, he's gonna come knock on the door. If the car broke down, he's gonna come look at it. He'll probably fix it, He's probably, well, I got a fixer for you, So we go find Dave, we'll come. And we said one day, we'll come once. And the following Sunday we went. And after the sermon, he preached on John. It was Nicodemus, Nick at night. After the sermon, we went up to him. I told him, I was like, Dave, this was dope, man. This is awesome. But you got to understand something. I'm atheist, man. I don't believe. My family, we don't believe. We're not doing this. We had scriptures in the house. As soon as I saw them, like, those are coming down. That was from the people who sold the house. And Dave looks at me and he goes, that is awesome. Can I show you something? Yeah, okay, show me something. Takes me in the kitchen. I see all these plates, styrofoam plates, with brownies, right? And they have the little the wrap. They're all individually wrapped. I'm like, Dave, what's all this? And he's like, oh, well, we made all these brownies for all the people that helped you move out or unload that truck the other day. And we wanted to take around the neighborhood and thank them. Just say thank you for unloading that truck for them. And, we're just so old, man. We can't carry all these plates. I was hoping, if it doesn't violate your atheism, could you help us carry all this? Can we? And I'm like, yeah, of course you can't. You can't violate atheism. That's not how it works. Yes, we'll carry that. You see, plus it's the people that helped us. Okay, yeah, of course. So we go, and we're in the neighborhood, we're walking. He's knocking on the door. It's him, his wife, Kathy, and me and Michael. And they would answer the door, and he'd go, hi, my name is Pastor Dave Early. This is my wife, Kathy. This is Randy and Michael. We're planning a church right across the street in that house. You guys probably came out and helped them unload the truck. We wanted to bring you this brownie with a card for the church and just say, God bless you and thank you. And people were saying, well, come on in. Some people would come on in. And I'm standing there. We're like, wait, did he just say Randy and Michael and his wife? Do they really? We're not with them. We're not. What is going on? Like, at this point, it's getting frustrating because it's like, we can't say, no, we're not, no. We just hold the plate. We just hold the plate. We don't do church. We just hold the plate. So we go in there because we're just being good neighbors and we're quiet. And these people, Dave he's Yoda when it comes to evangelism. This is what he did. Pastor Dave is evangelizing these people, telling them about his church. While he's evangelizing, we're sitting there. So he's evangelizing them, but he's evangelizing us. And after all of this, plates run out. I'm like, Dave, man, that can't be right what you said. Right? You told this one guy that it's not what you do in Christianity, it's what Jesus did. And I'm like, that can't be right because I know a little bit about religion, and religion is always about what you do. You have to do this, you have to do that, and if you don't, you go to hell. And I was like, so explain to me, did you lie to that guy? Like, what's going on? He goes, you know what? I'll explain it to you next Sunday. I'll see you next Sunday. And he goes, I'm like, oh. And we went next Sunday. We went. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. This man is a fraud, you know. Me and my wife were talking. We're like, what is he doing with 16 people in his house on a Sunday anyway? And we were like, oh, it must be a cult. We saw something like this on A&E. Don't drink nothing. Like, don't drink nothing. If it's not closed off bottled water, don't drink it. So we're like, oh, that's right, A&E. So we get in there because we're like, oh, it has to be cult. We go through the whole thing, and I'm sitting down with Dave, and we're talking after service. And I'm like, man, look, it just doesn't work with what we do. He goes, you know what, that's awesome. You know what we got coming up? We have a block party. We're going to throw a party for all the people that you guys met that helped you unload your truck. And he kept doing this. And we need some people to help hand out the hot dogs and the hamburgers and the cookies. Now, if it don't violate your atheism, and I'm like, hey, by now you know that doesn't work.
Right.
Would you guys be willing to do that? I'm like, yeah, why not? So that following Saturday, we're out there in his driveway. He pulls up a block party trailer, put out tables and everything. Me and my wife got gloves on. Kyle is out there. And people are coming, and we're handing out this food. Now, we're still atheists. But they're coming up. Oh, hi, Pastor Randy. No, I'm not Pastor. Oh, hi, Michaela. I don't remember how to say your name. Hi, how you doing? Oh, it's so good. God is so good. God bless you guys for coming over and talking about Jesus with us. That wasn't us. We just held the place. That's all we did. It wasn't us. But this is what is so awesome, you guys, is I'm standing there with these blue gloves on. Yeah. And I'm looking, and I'm watching all these ladies talk to my wife. They're in the parking lot of the Early's house. And they're having fun laughing, right? And I look over and I see my daughter, and she's with her little crew now, because they got this clique, what you got to call it, the Villa Stella Club. All the little girls and the boy kids that came over, and they're all having fun riding bikes. And I'm standing there, and I'm just like, what does this feel? You know, because I'm watching this bliss. My hole is closing, right? I tried all this stuff that didn't work, but all of a sudden something I didn't try is closing this hole up. Wow. I feel joy for the first time in a long time. Jesus. And I'm like, what is this feel? Go to Dave. I'm like, Dave, okay, look, man, I ain't gonna deny this. I did feel something. Hearing those people and their stories and watching my wife and my daughter, and it was just amazing, man. I don't know what that is. And he goes, that's Jesus. That's Jesus. Wow. Dave looks at me and he goes, you know what? He goes, you're broken. He goes, you're broken. Wow. And you lost something that you probably don't know how to get back. And he goes, you know, that's just how it is. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is he a prophet? Like, is he a psychic? Is he Miss Cleo? Because I never told him. I never told anybody. My wife will tell you, I didn't talk about my son, my firstborn. Mm-hmm. After I lost him, I was like, he's gone. In atheism, they're just gone. There's no way to get him back. So I'm thinking, he doesn't know about my son. I go, Dave, I lost my first child. I don't know how you could have known that. And he goes, oh, no, I didn't. He goes, I know anybody who doesn't have God is broken. Anybody who's not a believer is broken, and they lost something that they don't think they'll ever get back. He goes, the sad part is you probably won't ever see your son again because you're an atheist. Right? He goes, your son is with God right now. This is what he said. Your son is with God right now, and he's waiting for you, and he's watching you. He goes, but you don't believe, so you'll never see your son. He goes, and that's the part that's sad. Wow. And I was just like, I sat there, man. I go, Dave, for my son, to see him again, I would do anything. I would believe anything, but it has to be real. He goes, that's awesome. Jesus. Let me show you something. And then he went into the gospel. That man, God bless you, Dave Early, him and his wife Kathy, and those missionaries, all 16 of them, they're responsible for this. Right? Standing up here, being able to get the sermon. My wife and my daughter, thank you. Please clap it up. And I know I'm dressed, I got the best on the tie and everything. No, forget all this. Jesus. It's all Jesus. And it's Jesus coming through that man with his weird techniques of me the need first, you know, actually showing you what Christianity is before telling you that got us to where we are right now. Moral of that story is all that we believe stuff. It didn't work for us either, right? Until we started believing for real. Until we had to put ourselves in the game. See, it's all about having skin in the game. The measure of love is sacrifice. That's how you measure love. People ask, what's love? Love is hard to explain. It's kind of like God. But you can always measure it by what did you give up for? What did you sacrifice? God said, well, I gave up my son. John 3:16, right? I loved you so much. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, so that those who believe would not perish but have eternal life. He said, that's what I gave up. What you give up? It's easy to say I love you, but if you don't give anything, if you don't sacrifice, if you don't lose something, if it doesn't cost you anything, is it real? Is it real?
Come on.
Isn't that what the devil did with Job?
Yeah.
He says, oh, he loves you now because he doesn't cost him anything. He hasn't lost anything. Well, that just shows you the measure of love is, how much do I love you? What am I willing to sacrifice for you? When you say, I'm going to marry you, you're saying, I will sacrifice anything that I might have had with somebody else to be with you forever, to fight with you forever, to love you forever, to be with you. That's what you say when I'll marry you. Love, right? True love.
Yes.
Is saying, I'll give all this up for you. That's what God did. He said, I'll give up all my godliness to come down there and be a man. And I'll give up my life for you. Let's talk about God. Now, before we even get into that, I want to talk about the framework of the world, what the world does. The world says, okay, these are your options. It's all in a box. These are your worldly options. This is what you have. This is what you can have, and that's it. But our destiny was never inside that box. It wasn't even in this world. Everybody knows we're just passing through.
Right.
Our destiny is outside that box.
Fine, yeah.
Right? Jesus' destiny was outside the box. He knew that. And we're going to get into that in the scripture. He was basically telling them, look, you guys you're putting me in a box that's worldly, and I'm not of this world. I'm actually outside this world. What I came to do, my destiny is outside this world. What he wanted to do, London, and his picture's gone, but it doesn't matter, was outside of what anybody was expecting, because they weren't expecting to get in that barrel. They didn't think that they'd have to risk something for greatness. So let's go ahead and get into this word real quick, you guys. I'm getting way too excited. Today we're going to get into the book of John.
By the Spirit.
Let's go ahead and move. I'll keep it going. I can have y'all here all morning, but I won't do it. I'll get you guys out. Go to the book of John. We'll go chapter 6, starting in verse 41. We'll go 41 through 59. And Jesus is home. Okay? Understand, he is home. This is where he grew up. This is after he fed the 5,000 men. This is after he did all those miracles. He's done all this stuff and, walked on water. He's proven, I'm greater than anybody else you've seen by what I've done. And he's talking to them about his body being the bread of life. And he's surrounded by these Pharisees and his family, and they're all saying, I don't know. He's like, really? This is what you don't believe after I just I fed people with bread that wasn't even there? This is what you don't believe? So now comes the debate of the bread of life, and we're going to go ahead and start. Like I said, John chapter 6, we're going to go verse 41, and then we'll go all the way down to 59. All right, 41, it says, therefore the Jews started complaining about him because he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. They were saying, isn't this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How can he now say, I have come down from heaven? Jesus answered them, stop complaining among yourselves. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up on the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they will all be taught by God. Everyone who has listened and learned from the Father comes to me. Not that anyone has seen the Father except the one who is from God. He has seen the Father. I assure you, anyone who believes has eternal life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate manna in the wilderness and they died. This is the bread that comes down from heaven so that anyone may eat of it and not die. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. The bread that I will give for the life, or that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh. Straightforward to us, because we kind of know how the story went. Their faces had to be just like my face whenever Dave was going, oh, they're with us. What? We have to eat your flesh? They're thinking in that worldly box. In the worldly box, none of what he's saying makes any sense. I have to eat your flesh? Right? I'm not going to eat your flesh. Plus, you're Jesus. We've grown up with you. We've known you for 30 years. Plus, what makes you any different than anybody else? All this coming from heaven talk. Right? At that, the Jews argued among themselves, how can this man give up his flesh to eat? Again, thinking in the worldly box, right? So Jesus said to them, I assure you, unless you eat my flesh, the flesh of the Son of Man, and drink his blood, which is awesome, you do not have life in yourselves. Anyone who eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day, because my flesh is real food. My blood is real drink. The one who eats my flesh and drinks my blood lives in me, and I in him. In the Greek, it's abides in me, but it's the same thing. Just as the living Father sent me, I live because of the Father. So the one who feeds on me will live because of me. This is the bread that came down from heaven. It is not like the manna your fathers ate and they died. The one who eats this bread will live forever. He said these things to them while teaching in the synagogue in Capernaum. Now Jesus, he's doubling down. He said, not just eat the bread, but you're going to drink my blood. Now he just went to drinking blood again in that worldly box. Drinking blood? I don't want to. What are you talking about? But he's outside the box. He's like, what else do I got to do to get you guys to understand something? I'm not in this worldly box. You know, you guys ate bread that was in the box that came down from heaven. Your forefathers didn't. They died. He says it twice. He says, if that was the living manna that you believe in, that you believe, and they still died after they ate it, right? Understand, that's still in the worldly box. He's like, my bread is eternal because I'm eternal. Jesus is trying to get them to understand. My blood, my body that's going to be broken, that's the bread, the living bread. When I die for you, it's eternal life, because I'm coming back in 3 days. My blood is what washes away all your sin, meaning now you can come to that new place called home. Now you can come to heaven because of the blood that's going to be spilled, right? He said it's not really about drinking. It's not about drinking or eating, because that's all for the body. The body dies. Mm-hmm. He says, I'm eternal. If I'm eternal, and I prove that I'm eternal by bringing myself back to life, right, which nobody else was able to do. Everybody needed some help. Jesus didn't need no help. He's like, if I'm eternal and you're with me, what does that make you? Right? I take you back to the picture of Charles Blunden and his manager. Blunden said, now the world will be talking about me forever because I just did this. If you're on my back, what does that make you? Right? If I'm famous, you're famous. If I reach destiny, that means you're coming too because you're on my back. Jesus is saying if you want to avoid death, which is unavoidable at this point. Nobody can avoid death. Right. He goes, then you attach yourself to me. You abide in me. You live in me. Yeah. That means where I go, you go. Yes. Whatever I eat, you eat. Whatever I drink, you drink. And then when we get outside that box that is the world, you with me. You have eternal life. Yes. There's a movie I always talk about. I try to sneak it into my sermons because I love it, called The Matrix. Most of you guys have seen it. I know for a fact because I preached here before. You guys got the last reference I gave. In The Matrix, you got the hero Neo, right? He's the one. All these powers, but he doesn't know it because he's in this fake world. He's in this fake computer-generated world that everybody thinks is real. He knows something's not right about it. A guy comes along named Morpheus and says, no, this is not the real world. He goes, the computer has created a box, and they said all your options are in this box. But when you see the real world, it's going to change everything. Neo asks him, he says, you know what, if I truly, get the hang of this, you're telling me that I can dodge bullets, right? Again, he's thinking like the world. The world says if somebody shoots at you, either you can dodge it if you're fast enough, or you get hit by the bullet. That's what the world. Morpheus is like, no, once you understand your identity, once you know who you are, right, accept it, you won't have to dodge bullets. Yeah. And it was mind-blowing for him until the end of the movie when you realize he finally figures out, wait a minute, my destiny's outside of the matrix. It's outside of the box. It's outside of this creation called the world. Therefore, I don't need to dodge anything. I can just stop him. He puts his hand out and the bullets stop. No one else has done this in the movie. No one, right? He's out. His destiny's outside. He stops the bullets. Like what Jesus is saying. He's like, the box that they created for you is for you. It's not for me. I can't avoid death. Just like Neo stops bullets, I can avoid death. God gives us this thing, this beautiful thing called temperance, right? It's a fruit of the Spirit, temperance. It's the very last one. It's called self-control. A lot of people say, well, you know what? I go through so much in life, even though I understand what you're saying, Pastor. I understand that my destiny's outside of the box. I can't see my destiny no more. It's cloudy because of all the distractions, because of all the work, all the stuff that's going on in my life. I still go to church every Sunday, but I can't remember what motivates me anymore. Like, I don't remember that one thing that was so important to me that I would sacrifice everything, including my life, because I'm just too busy. They can't see outside the box. The world did a good job of boxing them in. And it does it to me, it does to everybody, to where you get so busy that you forget, wait a minute, what am I doing this for? What am I even doing? People go to church. What am I still going for? If you are going to church and you ain't getting nothing, you shouldn't be going to that church. I promise you there's some good ones like this one where you're going to get something. I'm just shameless plug because I know about this church. What I'm saying to you is this. Like you get so confused. And then what does the world do? It starts beating you up. Because once you start seeing clearly, wait, there was something I was supposed to do. There was something I was supposed to do, someplace I was supposed to be. And you start seeing, okay, wait, that's my motivation. That's my destiny over there. That's where I'm supposed to be. The world throws something at you. Some illness, something, financial burden, a loved one, anything. Somebody breaks your heart, you get betrayed. All these things, they keep hitting you. And they knock you back until you can't see your destiny no more. It was there and now it's gone. That's what the world does. And God gave us this beautiful thing called self-control. He says, you know what? There's not one thing in this world you can control but you. You are the only thing you have control over in this world. He said, I gave you free will so you have at least that.
Yes.
And you don't get that without the Spirit. Try controlling yourself without the Holy Spirit. It doesn't work. The world controls you. Anybody who says otherwise is lying.
That's right.
Watch it throughout the day. The world controls how they eat, what they do, everything, what they say. They can talk all churchly when they with you, but then they get to the beauty shop or they get to the barber shop and they start talking like they throw at the barber shop. Dropping F-bombs and everything because the world has told them that's how you talk in the barber shop. Spirit says that's not how you're supposed to talk at all.
Come on.
Right? God said, I gave this to you. We're the ones saying, Lord, it's not strong enough. My self-control isn't strong enough to control all these things that are happening to me. So what I want to do, because I'm more of an interactive pastor, I can't help myself. I've been preaching outside in 150-degree heat, and I'm in some AC, so we're going to get interactive. I want to be here as long as possible, because later on tonight I'm going to be outside. So let's do this, man. I want to ask you guys to give me something that is just awful. Give me a bad day. I want one thing that just give me something real bad that would be justified in saying, okay, this is a bad day. Time out, Lord. Time out. This is a bad day. Time out. My self-control, I'm struggling because of this situation. Pastor Irvin, give me something. Anything. Anything. I don't care. Make it bad.
The death of a loved one.
Death of a loved one. Okay? Death of a loved one. Do you want to go more specific? Like a mother, child?
Yeah.
Death
of a mother.
Death of a mother. Give me something.
I would say death of a mother.
Death of a mother. Give me something. Same thing, death of a mother. Who else has something? I want this to be a bad day. Give me something.
Death of a pet.
Death of a pet. Praise the Lord. When you love your pets, I'm telling you, let that cat die. The whole world is over. Start cursing Jesus. Give me something.
Lost your job.
Okay. Mama died, pet died, you just lost your job. Did you have something? Car gets repossessed. Come on. God, this day is getting worse. Give me something, Shayla.
Hey, that's good.
Come on. You guys have had a couple bad days. Tell me what makes you say, I got hands that are coming.
Good job.
I got, so they know.
Car accident.
Ooh, car accident. Repossessed, mama gone, pet gone.
You lose your
I saw
mom.
some hands. Did your hand go up, sir? Give me something.
My father passed.
Okay, mom and dad gone.
My mother's right here.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I mean not in real life, but this is hypothetical. I'm talking about a bad day, brother, where you can say, you know what, Lord, time out. This is ridiculous. I can't handle this.
Last 30 years of my life.
There you go. See, that's why I needed one. Because sometimes one thing is worse than all the others. Give me something, sir. I'm sorry? Healing? Oh, to be healed. A physical illness. Sickness, right? Sickness, physical illness. Give me something.
Losing 2 children out of the 3 and delivering them.
Oh my God. Losing 2 kids, right? 2 kids out of 3. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Give me something.
Spouse, death.
The death of a spouse? Oh, okay. Now, some people might not say that's the bad thing. But in this scenario, we'll say it's bad. But it should be
No,
bad. But
it's
some
bad.
people be like, ooh, come on, Lord, come get him.
No.
Give me something.
How about shooting at a nightclub?
Shooting at a nightclub. Oh my God, that's horrible. That's horrible. Give me something. Okay, car accident. That's right. Give me something.
A $5,000 bill that you can't pay
Oh
for.
my God. A big fat $5,000 bill when you don't have $5,000 to pay. That's the one that keeps most people up at night. That's real. Give me something. Okay, rebellious children. The one that's left is rebellious. Give me something.
House fire.
Oh, the house catches on fire. Lord have mercy. Okay, I'm on. Give me something. And a heart attack. Okay, just 2 or 3 of those, y'all. I could be like, okay, Lord, I'm good. Some of those you might give up on God completely because they're just too devastating, right? That stuff is, everything you just named is devastating. That's hard to get back up from. That's the world beating you down, saying, this is what we're going to do to you to make you forget your destiny. Mm-hmm. Self-control. I do a sermon about this, but we're going to touch on it right now. I'm Pastor Randy. I just went through all of that, right? Not in real life, but I'm just saying hypothetically. My car gets wrecked, and then it gets repossessed. Let's up the ante. I'm getting evicted from my place. $5,000 bill. I just lost 2 out of 3 kids, and the one that I have left doesn't respect me and is acting crazy, and we ain't got nowhere to live, right? My wife, I'm not going to say dead. I'm not going to do that to you. We'll say she left me for, let's say, another pastor, right? She found another pastor that is way better than me, you know? And she lets me know, hey, I called her up, baby. There was a note on the door next to this $5,000 bill that we have to get out, you know, and we only have 2 days left. She goes, well, I'm sorry to break this to you, but I'm already living in a big, nice house because I went with that other pastor, and he's doing better than you, and I'm sorry we're done. It's over. Then she could die, but, you know, she's still alive now. Then me and my daughter are talking about this, and then the whole place starts burning down, right? Fire. Cat dies in the fire. I called my mama because I'm like, all this bad stuff is happening. I got 1 kid left. I lost 2 kids. I find out from my older sister that both my mom and my dad died on a plane. They were flying somewhere. They died on a plane. This is all too much for me. Everything's happening. My mom and dad are gone. That's why I would call for guidance and for peace. They're gone. Disrespectful kid. Pet's dead. Place is burning down. Cars get repossessed after it got wrecked. Lost my job. No money. Right? I'm furious. How am I supposed to control myself when all this is hitting me, when the world is beating me up like that, right? And then I go into my car with my disrespectful kid, and I get my stuff out, you know, they let me take my stuff out, and take my stuff out the glove compartment, and I pull out this little ticket. And the ticket was a lottery ticket that I bought 2 days earlier that I forgot about, you know, because all this stuff is happening, I forgot. I'm like, you know what, man? I don't even think I want to check it, because the way Dave's going, I might not win. But I got no choice. I asked the dude, hey man, did you get the winning numbers in that lottery? Yeah, it's right there. And I'm looking at the ticket, and we'll say it's a $300 billion jackpot. We'll go ridiculous. $300 billion. $300 billion for y'all. You could spend $1 million every day, and you would die before you spend it all. $100 million is $1 billion. So 300 of those is so much money that it doesn't matter. Like, that's too much money for any one person. But you look at this ticket and you realize that you just won. You just hit for $300 billion. Now, you was about to start, because you were in the middle of your depression. But you took a break. You said, not from God, but hold on from the depression, because I just won $300 billion. Somehow you found the strength to come out of your depression for just a second, because you got a ticket that's worth $300 billion. The tears and drying up. You like, wait a minute now. You know?
And then until the joy comes.
The kid is showing some respect now. Ain't they? You know? Because that Nintendo Switch is coming out. And they're like, oh, you can get one of those. Yeah, I bet you can get one. You're thinking, wait a minute. This car, please take this car. I got $300 billion. I could buy a dealership. Take it.
I'm gonna buy a Rolls.
Buy a Rolls Royce. You think about this apartment you just lost and it's on fire. You're like, I can buy and rebuild the whole complex. I ain't worried about no place to stay. I got $300 billion. You think about your parents. You're like, you know what? They're gone. I can't get them back. But I promise you that celebration of life is going to be off the hook. It's going to look like one of P. Diddy's white parties, right? Think about it. You got $300 billion. It's going to be, woo, you're going to have everybody. Gap band, everybody's going to be. Beyonce singing for me, you know. Lord have mercy. T.D. Jakes does a 23rd song because you got $300 billion. You know he coming for some money. So I'm telling you, you lost 2 kids, but you still got 1. $300 billion, you can take better care of that 1 than you could ever took care of all 3 of them. Being honest with you. You ain't worried about no job. You got fired, you ain't thinking about that job. You can buy and sell everybody at that job now. $300 billion. Stay with me. The spouse that you lost, are you really worried about them?
No.
You don't think they're going to want to come back when they find out you just won $300 billion? Oh, I was wrong. I just, you know what? We got to get some church counseling. Let's go see Pastor Kim Scott. Let's work this out. No! You want them to go because now you realize God delivered you from them before the money came. And now you hold off until that divorce is final so you ain't got to share that money. But my thing is this, you're going to start looking a whole lot better to a lot of people with $300 billion in the bank.
Right.
Well, come on, God.
Every problem, everything you guys just named out, for somehow got solved with a little piece of paper that said you won $300 billion. But the paper ain't no, there's not money. It's just a piece of paper. The paper is a promise. All it is a promise. It's a promise to say, look, you go take this to Sacramento, cash this in, you got $300 billion coming, minus taxes, which you don't care about because it's $300 billion. You'll pay all them taxes.
Right.
Right? But how did you hit the switch? Think about it. You were able to hit a switch, and all that pain and despair, and God, this is too much, went away because of a piece of paper with 6 numbers on it. Not even no money. You don't even have the money yet. You still broke. You still broke. You're still unemployed. Kids still gone. Mama, daddy's still dead. Place burnt down. The pet is gone. Right? Kids still disrespect. All this stuff has not changed. You changed. You hit the switch. You controlled. You self-control, temperance. You did it for a piece of paper with a promise. Right? God.
That's good.
God. Stay with me. Stay with me. God gave us a whole bunch of pieces of paper full of promises. Greater promises. Greater than $300 billion. This is, I'm the one who created the money. Because what I have for you is eternal life. Meaning you are still going to die with that $300 billion. You can't even spend it all. I can give you enough time to spend all of it eternally. He says, when you come with me, you won't, like Morpheus, you won't need money. When you get to me. His promise should be enough for you to control yourself. Whenever you get in a situation that's too heavy,
Come on.
whenever something pushes you off your track to get to your destiny, think about these promises.
Wow.
And look at them like, you know what, Lord, I can hit that switch because I know what's coming. I know once I get to Sacramento and cash this ticket in, once I get to heaven and cash this in, I'm a billionaire.
Makeup call.
I'm a billionaire. Whatever you were before changes once you really believe in these promises. Once you accept these promises and believe, to get in the wheelbarrow, to get on the back, is to say, I believe these promises. Not just to say it, but to give yourself into it. To say, I lean into these promises. I live by them. Right? I sacrifice everything for these promises because I know where I'm going.
Yes.
And I know what's waiting for me.
Yes.
Only thing that's left is you've done all this work. You've done everything you can. You've mastered self-control. Every time something happens, you go, no, I got a lottery ticket. I got my $300 billion waiting for me, so I'm not going to mess up. You could be in jail, right? People acting up. You sitting there like, no, if you got that lottery ticket, you haven't cashed it in yet? You start quoting scripture. You know what? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. You know, you weren't going to do that before, but now you know I need to be in good behavior so they let me out of this jail so I can go cash in my ticket. That is the life we should live. That's why we look at all them laws. We don't live by the laws, but we look at them saying, okay, I'm going to keep them laws to make sure I'm going where I'm going. Because I'm not going to miss out on cashing in this ticket. But you did everything you could do. And then you are on a cliff called mortality. This is what's awesome about being human. It don't last forever. Life is a season. All the people that's gone, they wait. You on a cliff and you realize, I'm going to die. Right? Broke, rich, doesn't matter. I'm still going to die. And between you and that cliff is that destiny that's been screaming at you since you were born. God showed you something. I know he showed me. I know what mine looks like. But he gave you something. He said, forget all that stuff for a second. You know, pretend you just saw them win the lottery. And I want you to focus on what I showed you. I gave you some light. Your whole life led up to this moment. You're about to die. Right? Do you want to die? And all it amounted to was where you worked? The kind of car you drove? How much money you made? You know, how good looking your spouse was? No, you wanted to say, no, I actually reached where I was going. I know what God showed me. It was right there. But you got this big Grand Canyon chasm, this big open space, because you did everything you could do. You realized to get to your destiny, it's just too much. Because you did everything you could do, but still that gap is too wide. And here comes Jesus. He says, I got you. Look down. You look down, and you see a rope across that Grand Canyon, that chasm, a tiny little rope. And the Spirit says, you see that? That's your faith. That is your faith, right? I know it looks small right now, but you got to step out on that. You got to step out on it. And if you really want to get to your destiny, you'll do it. You'll step. And you are scared because you know that fall is long. It's mortality. You know death is coming. It's breathing on your neck and you're scared, but you see that rope and you say, you know what? I'm going to put my foot out. I'm not going to be like Peter, right? I'm not going to be a punk. I'm not going to start looking down and screaming and fall into the water. I'm going to put my foot out. And you put your foot out and that faith is so wobbly. Because you talk about faith all the time, but when you really have to have it, sometimes it's a little wobbly. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
And your foot is on there, you shake and you're like, okay, Lord, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know my destiny's over there, but I might not get to it. Faith says, come on, keep walking. Keep walking. Right? How much do you want that over there? You say, you know what, I gotta have it. So like London, you put that other foot out. And now, even though it's wobbly, you realize I'm balancing myself. And you don't understand that because of all the stuff you went through, now you have muscles. From all that stuff you survived, you have muscles that have been built up that are specifically designed to balance you on your faith.
Wow.
Now that little faith is enough to hold your weight now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And what happens? You keep walking. The more you walk on that little bit of faith, what happens? You get more confident.
Yes.
The legs get a little bit stronger. Start thinking about all this stuff. I got through this. I got through him. I got through her. I got through that. I'm still coming. I'm still moving forward.
Yes.
The devil threw everything at me. He took everything from me. I'm still coming. And you're walking. And eventually that rope turns into a bridge. Because you are so confident in your faith.
Yes.
You are so focused on your destiny that nothing can stop you. The wind can blow. It doesn't matter. You're solid. You're firm. Because you have the word. You got God's promises. And on the other end, you can see him. You realize that light at the other end was Jesus.
Yes.
Right? You know that face because you got a relationship with him.
Yes.
You're like, I know that man. And I'm coming, Lord, I'm coming. But you can hear the crowd. And you're like, who is that? That's not Jesus. I hear those voices and they sound so familiar. And the closer you get, you start seeing faces.
Come on.
And them faces is people that you thought were gone forever. People that you cried every night because you lost. That have been up there laughing, having a good time, watching you, saying, why don't you get it together? You know where you're coming. Get it together. You cried, that's good tomorrow. Now get up and keep moving towards your destiny. And you can see their faces the closer you get. And I get, when I'm doing this run, you guys, when I'm running, when people ask me, you've been in this thing for 5 years, you're running, Randy, obviously. You're running. You've only been Christian 5 years. What are you doing? I say, at the end of my rope, I see my son. I see his face. I put my foot out on that rope when I gave up atheism, and I had that mustard seed of faith. I go, now I have a bridge that's taking me right to something that I thought was gone forever. I can still see his face. I can still see it. And I can see him smiling, saying, thank you for finally figuring it out, Daddy. We've been waiting on you.
Yes.
And I tell you guys, there's nothing in this world, nothing in this box that can stop me from getting to my son. The only thing that I thought was gone forever, that is not, God has him. So I have to keep going. I have to have my destiny. I don't want a piece. I want it all. So that's why I do this. That's why I continue to do this. And this is my message to you before we close out. Figure out what that thing is. Right? Keep God's promises. Use those like a winning lottery ticket, but figure out what it is. What you're supposed to be doing, and who it is that's waiting for you. Somebody's rooting for you right now. They're waiting for you.
Yes.
Give them something good to watch. Right? Get on the rope. Let your faith be enough. Don't worry about bills, man. We go to bed at night worried about bills that after you pay them, they come back 30 days later. Think about that. It comes back every 30 days. What are you worried about? You should be worried about that light, that destiny, that focus. Saying, Lord, no matter what the world does, I will not stop coming. I will pursue you with everything I have. Thank you, Lord Jesus. If you'd all bow your heads. Heavenly Father, Lord, you really are the reason for the season. If it were not for you, Lord, being outside of this box, outside of this world, being that bread, Lord, being the blood, Lord, that washes us clean and gets us to where we need to be, we could not get there. Lord, it would not be the gospel. It wouldn't be the good news if it didn't have a happy ending. Lord, our happy endings look different, right? Mine looks like a little boy, 3 months old. Everybody else might have a different one. They might even have more than what I have. The truth is, Lord, we're all coming. We're all coming. The world, the devil, their job is to make sure we don't get there. Is to keep us so busy, Lord, that we forget what we're supposed to be doing. But Lord, I thank you for your discernment. I thank you for your clarity of mind. I thank you for your strength, Lord, to keep moving when we've been knocked down so many times we shouldn't want to get up. I thank you for your promises, Lord, that are worth more than money. And I thank you for what you're doing in the lives of the men, women, and children in this room specifically, and their pastors. Lord, give us strength. Give us focus. When we leave here today, Lord, let the drive home be something, Lord, that stops the world, slows the whole world down and says, that's your destiny. That's what I gave you. That's the promise I told you. Don't get off of it. Keep going till you have it. Lord, I ask for these things because I know how much you love us and because we love you in all things, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.